Star Wars Outlaws throws a lot at you in the early game. Whether you want to get better at stealth, boost your reputation within a certain faction, or unlock the most useful abilities, there's a lot to learn. But after spending my own money on the game and a significant amount of time, I can honestly say I'm having a ton of fun. So, what are some things that might help you have a similar experience? Well, here are my top essential tips for Star Wars Outlaws. One of the more time-consuming activities in stealth games can be waiting for enemies to get into a position where you can sneak up on them. But in Outlaws, you don't always have to wait. If you're up against just one enemy, use Nix to attack them with the press of a button. Once he attacks, you can run up to that enemy from any direction without breaking your stealth. Even better, if there are two enemies side by side, you can order Nix to attack one, then take the other out with a stun blast, or even a regular old stealth takedown, then knock out the enemy that Nix is face-hugging. There are 3 quests available in the early game that will significantly expand your abilities. The first is called New Tricks. Completing it will let you upgrade your blaster with the Ion module, which lets you disable enemy shields with a few well-aimed shots, and it allows you to charge certain capacitors, which trigger environmental actions like opening locked doors, activating certain elevators, and more. The second quest to complete along these lines is called the Slicer, and completing it gives you the ability to hack terminals. These might let you disable certain security features, or they might reward you with credits or even provide you with mission intel. This quest also introduces you to an expert named Ayla Bren. Experts, if you didn't know, provide access to your unlockable abilities, with Bren specifically expanding certain stealth and hacking capabilities. Want to reduce the noise of your footsteps when sneaking around? She's the one to talk to. The last quest in this tip is another expert intel quest called the Speeder Mechanic, which unlocks the speed boost upgrade to your speeder and introduces you to an expert named Silo Rovak. She'll let you unlock even more speeder abilities, plus an ability that helps Nix find treasure, an ability that boosts Kay's carrying capacity, and she'll let you upgrade your smoke bombs. And speaking of, once you upgrade your speeder with the speed boost from the previous tip, you'll be able to get smoke bombs. The reason you'll need the speed boost is because the smoke bomb compressor, which is required to unlock the smoke bomb ability, is found in this cave in the northwest corner of Toshara. But you can only get past the powerful wind gusts blowing through the cave with, you guessed it, the speed boost. Once you get the compressor, you'll also need 7 pieces of polycarbonate and 3 MG2 power exceeders, which I found just by exploring the world. Once you get the smoke bombs, they'll be automatically added to your equipment menu right next to grenades and your binoculars. Picking which faction you build your reputation with does have certain consequences, and one that the game doesn't explain all that well are the rewards. These aren't massively impactful, but they can help you decide which faction to build your reputation with based on which style of gameplay you want to enhance, stealth or action. The rewards for the Crimson Dawn and the Pike factions reward stealth. Want to make yourself harder to detect and upgrade your smoke bombs? Boost your rep with the Crimson Dawn. Or if you find yourself frequently using grenades, then the Hutts will probably be your faction of choice. Of course, you can always boost your rep with any faction later in the game, but early on, this is how I made my decision for which one to cozy up to first. If you're in Mirogana and you happen to pass by this street food vendor, stop and grab a bite. You will have to endure a lengthy sequence of QuickTime events as you and Nix enjoy your meal, but that's not really the point. After you chow down, you'll be rewarded with a Nix treat, a customization option that you'll find in the loadout section of the equipment tab of the main menu. Select it and Nix will gain the ability to kick grenades away from Kay in combat. Pretty cool. Early on, it can seem tough to build your reputation with more than just one faction because main missions often require you to double-cross one faction or another. But once you have access to contracts, all that changes. Each contract is associated with a faction, and they'll often boost your reputation without any downside. To find contracts, talk to Donka or seek out new contract brokers. Once you find them, you'll be able to accept new contracts from any broker you've met right from this table on the Trailblazer. Another way to build your rep is to hand in data cards to vendors that work for specific factions. Now, to be honest, I'm not sure where I found these data cards, so you might want to look that up, but if you have any, just visit a vendor that works for a particular faction and hand over the data card for a slight boost. Using these methods, I was able to boost my reputation with both the Crimson Dawn and the Pikes, and this gave me unrestricted access to more areas, discounts on certain items, and access to more contracts. And by the way, as a bonus tip, definitely check out the clothing items these vendors have on sale. Some have pretty great benefits like this vest, which boosts my adrenaline for performing stealth takedowns. I don't remember seeing a tutorial for this, but you can stealth attack enemies from above in Star Wars Outlaws, and it's really easy. If you're close enough, just look for the stealth takedown prompt and you'll automatically drop down on an unsuspecting foe. And if you're high enough that you don't see the prompt, you can still do it, but it's a little trickier. Just jump off the ledge, then press the button right before you land on them. As you can see here, I took this guy out from quite high up, all while maintaining my stealth and taking no fall damage. Definitely a handy maneuver. Slicing in Star Wars Outlaws isn't all that tough, but it does get more complex early on. You might notice that in some terminals, the nodes on the left are connected by a network of thick lines. And if you look closely, you'll see the nodes are separated into connected groups. Now, what the game doesn't tell you is that only one node from each of those connected groups is part of the password. What this means is that if there's a connected group of, say, 5 symbols, your odds of selecting the right symbol in that group are 1 in 5. But if you see a group of only 2 connected symbols, your odds are 50-50, much better. And if you see a symbol that's not connected to any others, you know that symbol is part of the password. It took me a little while to wrap my head around, but once I did, I was usually able to crack the more advanced passwords pretty much every time. A lot of abilities in Star Wars Outlaws seem tailored more to stealth than combat. For example, the tutorial for the stun shot takes place in a stealth scenario. But just like in stealth, the stun shot will also take enemies down in combat with just one blast. And then there's Nyx's attack. While this won't take an enemy down, it's great for temporarily removing one from the equation while you blast other enemies in a group. And while this probably doesn't need to be said, don't forget about Adrenaline Rush. This is taught very early, and for that reason, I totally forgot it even existed. But when it comes to blasting your way through multiple guards at once, if you have it charged up, it's definitely the way to go. In the Map tab of the main menu, you'll notice an indicator in the top left to press L2 to see the navigator. I'm not sure there was ever a tutorial explaining what this does, but it's actually pretty helpful. It basically organizes all the locations on your map into categorized lists. Looking for a specific shop? Check out the Vendor tab. Or if you're looking for a contract broker, visit the Contracts tab. Whatever you're looking for, just highlight it in the navigator, and if you want to go there, look up a fast travel point, which are also listed in the navigator, and boom, you're there. In Outlaws, both passive and active abilities are unlocked by performing certain in-game tasks. Just highlight an ability you haven't unlocked in the abilities menu to see what they are. For example, the Sneak Shot, which makes blaster shots fired from stealth more powerful, requires you to blast a total of 5 enemies while they're distracted, and complete 1 infiltration contract. This might seem like an obvious tip, but unlocking abilities early on really helps open up the gameplay in Outlaws, especially if you find the stealth to be rigid. Are you tired of every climbable surface in every open world game being painted yellow? Do you wish studios just let you discover the world for yourself? Well, here's some good news. In the gameplay section of the settings menu, you can turn on a setting called Explorer Mode, and it removes all that yellow paint. That's literally all it does. I've been playing the entire game this way, and it's great. Next, and maybe even more important to some of you, you can change the cinematic display mode setting to remove the letterboxes. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather have a full screen view, so if you're like me, just head to the graphics tab of the settings menu. So there you have it. Those are the best tips that I thought to share when it comes to getting the most out of Star Wars Outlaws. If you found this video helpful, I would definitely appreciate a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe, that would also go a long way. Until next time, thanks for watching.